Soka Base.
Uzuri wa Soka Base ya Dar24 tunakuletea watu tofauti na wale ambao wanatamani kuwaona na kuwatazama na kujua namna gani ambavyo wanafanya kazi, maisha yao ya soka yakoje. Na leo tumebahatika kukutana na kocha mkuu wa Simba Sven Vandebroeck. Tutazungumza naye maisha ya soka ndani ya Tanzania, ameonaje tangu afike, namna gani anapanga program zake katika kikosi chake, lakini pia tutazungumza na vitu kadha kadha. Mimi naitwa Somba na hii ni Soka Base ya Dar24, nyuma ya kamera Laxman Lila.
Soka Base.
Coach, how are you?
I'm fine.
How can you describe Tanzania Premier League?
Better than I expected. It's a technical league. If you compare to a lot of countries, then they try to play football from behind. They try to play a passing game, not always kick it long and just run. There's always a kind of playing style in most of the teams. That's something I like, and it's something that is modern football too. If Africa wants to develop, I think that's the way you should go. That's one. Secondly, tactically, it's not so bad. I mean, most of the teams, they're good in place. They can play a compact game, defensively well organized. And also the coaches from abroad, they give an extra touch, especially the guys from Rwanda. I think there are a few guys from Rwanda. They can put a team against you that has defensively good thoughts about what they should do in the game against us. And I saw a few local coaches who can instruct their teams to play really onto midfield to up. So I think the level is better than I expected, and I think it's better than average in Central Africa. So we should give a compliment to the development of the past few years, because when I came here, I was really surprised, and that's good.
Maybe our audience want to know which them.
That's not, we don't gonna give names. I think everyone knows for themselves who's doing well, and even sometimes you can lose 3 or 4 games, but still your idea of how you play is good. Even if you have a difficult situation of a few games that you don't win, it doesn't mean the coach is bad. Sometimes you have to give, and I feel here in Tanzania coaches get a little bit more time than in other countries. Sometimes in countries where you lose 1 game, you're out. Here, Mtibwa Sugar, they win the Mapinduzi Cup against us, and then I think for 6 or 7 games they didn't win. But still the coach is there, and he can restructure his team, and he can bring them back on track. And now I think they didn't lose for 6 games. So sometimes you have to give a coach time, and I think most of the coaches here, they can put something in place to develop their team.
What about the situation in Simba Football Club?
It's not only Simba Football Club at this moment. I think every club has the same problem or issues. That's the virus going around. So yeah, we like football and we can do what we like. So then you're always a little bit frustrated because you want to go out on the pitch and touch the ball or instruct the boys. So it's mentally a difficult period because you can do what you love. But in the end, I think it's necessary to do it. Especially because I have maybe a bit more news what is happening in Europe. And I think we're not... here we're not fully aware of what is coming towards us. So I think we have to be very careful in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
I like your dress code when you wear the Simba's t-shirt.
I think it's normal. You're part of a team, and I always wear the Simba shirt. So I'm showing that I'm also part of the team. I'm one of the guys losing or winning games. And it has to be decent. So my pant is my personal one. But it's classy, and in the meantime, I show that I'm part of the team. So also the sponsor is happy on that case, because if you wear something private, the sponsor is not mentioned on the shirt. So I think in that case, everyone is happy and everyone is feeling part of the team.
Since you came in Tanzania, what's your continuation of your life in Tanzania, in Simba Sports Club?
We had many games, so private life or social life was not too busy. Spending all my time on the team, watching opponents or watching my own team, training sessions. But life is quite good. If I compare to some countries where I've been in the past, then life is good. You have shopping malls, you can come out, you have the beach, you have always the good weather. So that's positive. People are very kind, very open. Even if you lose a game, they can be angry for 1 or 2 days, but then they forget quite easily. There are other countries where they can stay for weeks angry. So in general, I'm very positive about the country and the people, very warm-hearted. In Simba, I think the structure is becoming better in the club. Bit by bit, we're making steps forward. And if you want to compete with the highest level in Africa, I think we still need to take some steps. But everyone is working hard, everyone is focused, and I can be very happy with, one, the work in the office, but also the work on the pitch. Most of the guys are very committed, skillful. We have a good team, and everyone is working hard to obtain or to get the 2 trophies this season. And maybe with a far mindset, we're already looking a little bit to next season, where Champions League will be our main target in after pre-season.
You say that you travel in different countries in Africa. What's different between those countries about the games, about the football, about the fans?
I think there's a difference between French-speaking countries and the English-speaking countries. One in development of the country. I think the English-speaking countries are a bit more advanced, also in infrastructure, in roads, in mindset sometimes. Although the French-speaking countries are mentally much tougher than the English-speaking countries. That's one. I think you can find better facilities in English-speaking countries. And then I mean shopping malls, shoppings, the roads, hospitals. They're more advanced than French-speaking countries. So that's a good part of the English-speaking countries. If you look at football, I think the numbers in coming to football is bigger here in the French-speaking countries, and I don't talk about Congo, where you have Mazembe and Vita Club, but in Cameroon, Gabon, if you have 150 or 150 people coming to games, that's a lot. Here you can find even lower teams playing for much more people than what they do in French-speaking countries. So in general, people are more kind and open in the English-talking countries. In the French-speaking, they're a little bit more reserved and on a distance. So there are a lot of differences, what you have to take in account as a coach also, because my group now is only 2 are French-speaking. So with these, you have a little bit different approach than with most of the other guys. It makes you think, and it makes you learning different mentalities, different mindsets. And me as a coach and as a person, I like that, because I like to take in new info, new things. It makes you going forward.
Coach, you played 2 derbies in this year 2020. Which things have you learned in those derby?
One, that the atmosphere is great, and that a derby everywhere it's played is always very tense. That's one. Secondly, that the 2 teams have a bit different approach or a different squad at this moment. We're a bit more technical. They like it a little bit more the physical and the power on the pitch. But what you learned in the past doesn't help you all the time in the future. I think we have our own way to go, and I hope there's one derby to come in 2020 before the end of the season. That means we play each other in the cup, and everyone knows our results from the last 2 games. So we are hoping to play them again in the cup, hopefully maybe in the cup final, to make it a good final for the whole country and football loving people, and that we can beat them in the final.
When you was lose Mapinduzi Cup in Zanzibar, what was the situation in Simba Sports Club in that time?
That game was, for me, the Mapinduzi Cup was not the most important. I know people from outside our squad and maybe saw it different. But you have to know, when I came on December 10, half of the squad was out for Sekafa. So we didn't have any international player. So we started with everyone who was on board that time, and we were rotating a lot. Then we came to a team playing Yanga on January 4th, and we traveled to Zanzibar in the first moment with those who didn't play against Yanga, because I wanted to see them more and give some youngsters who didn't play any minute yet, to give them time also, like Rashidi, Juma. So that's my intention of that tournament in my first opinion, was to give everyone time and to really see everyone. And I think in the end, after these 3 games, I saw everyone, and it gave me a good impression on everyone in my squad. Although in the final, Mtibwa Sugar was very, very motivated to play Simba and the final, and they just beat us on a good spirit, because we dominated most of the game, but they defended very well, and on motivation and physical efforts, they could win the game.
What about your future plans in next seasons?
I think after losing JKT at home, we did a screen up of the full squad, and we filtered, and from that moment on we went to play almost every game with the basic 11 that in my opinion fits best at this moment. And we played, I think, almost 10 consecutive games with 10 or 11 same players, and you saw that our level was increasing. Also the passing game in midfield, although there are missing some details, especially in the defensive part of the full team. I don't speak only about defense, but also your midfield has to defend, strikers has to defend, so everyone has a task to do. There are still some things to adapt and to modify. But I think Simba has a technical way of play. That's what we should care about. That's what we should install also in the next games and in the future. And to find balance between attacking and defense. Because we're going to face stronger opponents in the future, especially if we want to go into Champions League. So we have to, one, to balance a little bit better, and to get a mindset that in such games we also need maybe a more physical effort to obtain a result.
What the Simba targets in Champions League?
First the league. We're still this season. We have to win at least 5 games mathematical to win the league. There's still a cup to play that we like to win. So these are the 2 first short-term targets. Then the next target is Champions League. And we didn't speak yet as a club what is the target in Champions League. Let's reach or take the trophy of the title, then reach Champions League. And when we are there, then we will see which group we face and what we can do in the group stage. But first, I think you always have to think in chronological way. League, qualify Champions League, and then see what we can do in Champions League.
Simba's football club, they have good chance to win Tanzania Premier League trophy.
Yes, but we're not still there. We still need to have 15 points mathematical. So until you're not sure of something having in your hands, you always have to fight and work for it.
As a football expert, how do you know about Papi Kabamba Shishimbi?
Yes, but that's what they like to hear. And I'm here working for Simba, so I can only talk about Simba. Even after a game, I think a journalist asked me, what do you think about the performance of the opponent? I said, look, that coach is sitting next to me. That's a question for him. He is the boss of his squad. I can only talk about things I can control, even though I have opinion about politics, about other teams, about other players. Maybe I have it, but I will not talk about it.
What about situation of the opponents in Tanzania Premier League?
You don't see a lot, and maybe the 8-0 against Singida was really an exceptional score, but most of the games are tight. One goal difference, 1-0, 1-1, 2-1. So all the clubs are playing tight games, and it's not easy to make always the difference. So the general level here is good. It's better than average in the African central countries. I don't take in count Morocco, Egypt, Tunisia and South Africa. I think these 4 leagues are above all the rest. And then you have some individual clubs like Mazembe in Congo, Horaya in Guinea, who always do good on Champions League level. And if I talk about Simba, then maybe such individual club performances in Champions League can be ours, or another club from Tanzania can do the same.
What about your plans for Ibrahim AJIB?
Everyone needs to work for his spot. And everyone playing for Simba has skills, because otherwise Simba doesn't recruit you. But you have on every position 2 or sometimes 3 good players, and then it's the coach who decides who will play. There are no plans, because every last game you play, that's how you evaluate a player. And then you go on training and you evaluate everyone again towards a new game. So it's not about Mr. X or player Z or player A. Everyone has to do, even CHAMA or Wawa or Nioni or Kagere. Everyone has to do his basic job. And if you do your basic job, everyone has a chance to play.
We'll see Yusuf Mlipili in your future plans of next games?
Maybe. I told you, if everyone work good and have the skills to play, everyone has a chance to play. So we have 29 players, with one Simba B who's training with us, Cyprian. Even he can have a chance. If he's doing well and I think he's ready, he has a chance.
You can shift him to Simba B.
Sometimes he plays on Simba B, yes. When he's not in our selection, he's playing with Simba B, but he's training with us all the time, because I think if you want to develop in the last part of a youngster, you want to develop him, he needs to make a next step, and the next step is to train on a higher level than Simba B, and to adapt bit by bit on the physical awareness and also on the tactical speed. And you see that the big difference is the tempo of playing. You see that he has skills, that he has good technical skills, but spaces are reduced in senior football, much more than in youth football. And the tempo of 1 on 2 touch playing is much faster than in youth games. So that's where he struggles a bit now. But I'm sure with his work he's putting in, that in the next couple of weeks, months, he will adapt and he can pick up the tempo of the first team.
Last words for Simba fans?
That we're always outnumbering the opponents, and that's always good to have the support of so many people during games. Even if we play far away, we always have a big number of fans. That's one. Secondly, sometimes I feel that they're, I don't know the exact word, but too spoiled sometimes with all the results. So sometimes they're too quiet. Even if we have a big number, they can be a little more expressing themselves, especially when we have a bad period in a game, or when the game is not going like we expected. Then sometimes this extra boost of extra vocal boost can help us too. But in the end, we're very happy with the numbers. We're very happy that even if we go by bus through town, they're sharing to us. So they're positive and supporting us. And a club without fans is no club. So a club is always made, one, Results is one, but the people around and the number of people getting into games and supporting us, that makes a team, makes it big. Or even you win something with not too much people, it keeps you on a lower level. So,
Coach, thanks for your time.
No problem.
Bwana, tulikuwa na kocha Simba Sven Vandebroeck, tumezungumza vingi kuhusiana na maisha yake ya soka, namna gani ligi inavyoenda, kile ambacho amejifunza kutoka katika dabi zile mbili za Simba na Yanga. Vitu vingi sana tumezungumza. Hii ni Soka Base ya Dar24. Mimi naitwa Somba, mpaka wakati mwingine. Nyuma ya kamera ndugu yako wa karibu anaitwa Lax Malira, Emily pametushika mkono. Bye bye.
Soka Base.